Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Last night, talk about two guys who found a way to lose. Let me tell you, right? Congrats to Andy Ruiz. The knockdowns saved him. But look, last night, the Andy Ruiz-Luis Ortiz fight is a fight where the better man lost. Let's just be honest. Luis Ortiz is a much better fighter than Andy Ruiz. Much better. Much better, man. I don't know how many of you watched the fight. But this is what's going on with Ruiz. This is what's going on with Ortiz. Ortiz, his punch resistance is not the same. Ortiz gets hit and he goes down. This is something that we aren't used to seeing in Ortiz. Ortiz, his punch resistance has somewhat been affected. Could it be because of those blows he took from Deontay Wilder? I don't know. But if you watch the Charles Martin fight, these are big boys. They hit hard. I get it. But if Ruiz gets hit, if Luis Ortiz gets hit like on top of the head, or he gets caught clean, he goes down. When he fought Charles Martin, he went down from a jab. So now you look at him in there with Andy Ruiz, and don't get me wrong, Andy Ruiz hits hard. He has strong hands, but it looks like Ortiz, he still has the fight in him. He still is dangerous when it comes to his offense, but he's a guy who can't stand in the pocket and risk being hit because he goes down. But once he went down in that early in the fight where he went down twice, Luis Ortiz, when he started boxing, you see, Luis Ortiz is taller than Andy Ruiz. Luis Ortiz has the reach on him. Luis Ortiz is from the Cuban school of boxing. So once he started boxing Andy Ruiz and putting rounds in the bag, I said, okay, here we go. He's going to make it easy. He's not worried about knocking him out. He's not worried about entertaining. He's worried about getting that W to go on and fight, Deontay Wilder in the third fight. But what happened is he decided to stand in there a little too long and get comfortable with the exchanges, and Andy Ruiz, with those fast, powerful hands, dropped him again. And then Luis Ortiz again, you lose your right to complain when you don't let your hands go enough. And he didn't let his hands go enough. But in that 12th round, where he knew it was do or die, you watched Luis Ortiz let those hands go, and he looked magnificent. And obviously he had the engine to go 15 rounds. And let me tell you, if that was a 15-round fight, Andy Ruiz loses. Matter of fact, Andy Ruiz is lucky to get away with that fight. Now, the scorecards were a little crazy. I didn't think, Luis Ortiz won almost every damn round. But, he won quite a few. But when Andy Ruiz let his hands go, he was shaking up Ortiz. So Ortiz can't sit there and he wasn't supposed to get in those exchanges with Andy Ruiz because he lost every time. But when he sat back and boxed, he made it easy. Andy Ruiz has he has a long torso, short lower body, and he has short arms. He looking, crazy, man. So once you get in close, he lets those hands go. But Luis Ortiz, man, he just did a little bit, it just, not enough, man. But, man, if he would have just did more, but I understand he's getting countered. Andy Ruiz wasn't doing a lot, too, sometimes because he's worried about getting countered, man. So there was some lulls in the fight, but not because these guys weren't stylistically a good fight. It's because they both didn't want to get countered, and they both hit hard as hell. So, with Luis Ortiz, I'm not sure how many fights he has left in him. Now, he can probably fight another 10 years as long as he's getting his offense off. Because Luis Ortiz is a really good boxer. When you watch him fight, he almost looks simple. But to see him get in there and fight Charles Martin and get him out there with the big left hand and fight Andy Ruiz and dominate Andy Ruiz the way he did and a lot of moments in that fight, that tells me Luis Ortiz is the real deal. He just his punch resistance isn't what it used to be. He's never a guy who took a lot of shots anyway, but I think Deontay Wilder messed him up. Okay, so I think Luis Ortiz, age is catching up to him. He's like an old Cadillac. That's what we call him over here. Luis Ortiz is a damn Cadillac, an old Cadillac, and he's a problem for anyone. But if he gets caught, he goes down. And I don't think Luis Ortiz has many fights left in him, but he's got to be careful on who he's getting in the ring with, because if it's someone who's offensive-oriented fighter and they touch him, he's going to go down. But at the same time, Luis Ortiz, if he can get his hands up first, more than likely gets the person out of there. Now, Andy Ruiz, right? You wonder why I say the better man lost? Because Andy Ruiz isn't a better boxer than Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz showed that. Okay, but this is what I noticed about Andy Ruiz. And this is why I said in other videos, right? Andy, this is what happens when you jump from trainer to trainer to trainer to trainer. It throws your game off. This isn't the Andy Ruiz. Man, who's that guy? I'm going to look it up while I'm talking to y'all, right? That guy, Andy Ruiz, KO, man, before AJ, man. I don't know the guys. I don't know the guy's name. He's a big old, he was a big fighter, man. A big fighter. I can't remember the guy's name. But, oh yeah, this is right here. Alexander Dimitrenko. That's the name. Now, if you didn't watch that fight, this is the person Andy Ruiz fought before he fought AJ. Alexander Dimitrenko, right? He got him out of it within 5. That Andy Ruiz is the one that went and fought AJ in their first fight. That Andy Ruiz doesn't exist anymore. He doesn't exist. There's the number one thing happened to him is he became a millionaire, multi-millionaire. Those 2 fights with AJ. The second thing happened to him is he left his original trainer. Then he went over there thinking he needed to be like Canelo and lose weight and all this other crap. That didn't work. Then he left over there. He went with Joe Goose and left there, and now he's somewhere else. Andy Ruiz has bounced around. As a result, his style has continued to change, and not for the better. So he's in the ring now, where he's always been a come-forward fighter, letting his hands go, getting guys out of there, forcing them to quit. Now he's trying to work combinations and be more defensive-oriented and not let his hands go so much. He wants to try to be different. That's stupid. It's stupid, man. It's like Deontay Wilder. Look. If all you have to do is throw your big right hand, why are you trying to evolve your style? Talk about De La Hoya. De La Hoya could box. De La Hoya could do everything. But for the most part, De La Hoya was all left hand. Okay? That's the truth. Miguel Cotto, he could box. Phenomenal boxer. But for the most part, all left hand. Floyd Mayweather could do everything. Both hands. All angles, everything. But for the most part, towards the end of his career, especially the last like 20 fights, that lead right hand. Okay? So, coming now and trying to evolve your style to come away from something that's been working for you. If it's not working, then evolve it. But if it's working, why are you trying to move away from that? And that's what I think is hurting Andy Ruiz. He's getting away from what brought him success. And I don't like that. And that's why in that fight last night, when have you seen Andy Ruiz just stand around and not throw the damn punches? And I get it. He doesn't want to get countered. And I get it. Luis Ortiz hits hard. But this Andy Ruiz, man, he's worried about getting touched too. You know, he doesn't want to get hit. And I'm not sure what the future holds for him. But as a result of all of this, all of these refinements he's trying to make in an effort to evolve his style, that's why he looked the way he looked against Areola and why he looked against Ortiz. But he still had those quick hands and power. I think he looked better in this fight than he did against Ortiz, to be honest with you. Man, when he let his hands go, he looks amazing. But then he was getting hit with some serious, Cuban missiles in there. And But normally when he gets hit, he comes right back. He wasn't really doing that. So it looks like he's kind of on the decline a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think Andy Ruiz has many fights remaining. I don't. I don't think he has it because I think deep down he doesn't want to do it. He says he wants to be the next. He wants to be the two-time Mexican heavyweight champion, and all that sounds good. But I don't think he really wants it. Deontay Wilder says he wants to come back, and I don't think he really wants it. I'm not saying they can't do it. I just think deep down, things are different now. You see Andy Ruiz, man, buying the brand new Hummer, modified Hummer. This man made $1 million last night. Luis Ortiz made $500,000. Andy Ruiz makes millions now when he fights. And there's pay-per-view on top of that, so he probably walk away about $3 to $5 million, depending on the pay-per-view sales. Probably more like around $3 million. Ortiz probably make about 1.5. It's different. Luis Ortiz he fought like he was hungry. Yeah, he's not a guy who throws 1,000 punches around, but when he was letting his hands go, he just could have did a little more. But Luis Ortiz they're still dangling that carrot in front of him because he hasn't had the opportunity really against Wilder, but he's not really had the opportunities like other fighters to fight for belts. So we'll see what the future holds for him. But I know for a fact, Andy Ruiz, if Wilder can get past Salinas, that's a big if. But if he gets past Salinas and Wilder still looks like that killer, I don't think Ruiz really stands a chance. I think he gets viciously knocked out because Wilder's too tall and too long. That's almost like fighting a Bermain Stavern with faster hands. Wilder isn't going to play around, and I pray to God Malik Scott doesn't have Wilder in there trying to throw a left jab, straight right, then come in with a hook. And no, man, I wouldn't throw no hooks against Ruiz. Sorry for getting the names mixed up. Against Ruiz, if I was Wilder, it'd be straight 1-2, jab, jab, jab. Frustrate him. Larry Holmes him to death. Jab. I Cortez his ass to death. Bazooka him. Boom, jab, jab. And then when he starts to get frustrated and discouraged and that crowd is about to boo me and the Barclays, then I hit him with that Tuscaloosa watermelon and lemonade thing that he's drinking out there. Boom! And get Andy Ruiz out of there. But that's not that fight, man, it's not a foregone conclusion. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. I just think that Wilder and Ruiz should be an easy fight for Wilder. But we'll see how he looks against Salinas. But if he's out here trying to be cute in the ring and float like a butterfly and throw uppercuts and hooks and roll out and counter with the right hand and all this welterweight bullshit, Wilder's gonna be in trouble, man. But we'll see. But again, Andy Ruiz, he won. He did get 3 knockdowns. That saved him. It really did, because the judges were favoring Ortiz big time. And Andy Ruiz knows. That's why when the guys start thanking God and Jesus and, at the end of a fight, that's because he knows he dodged the bullet. And Ruiz didn't give any interviews because he knows he could have done more. So to me, they both lost their right to complain. And the reality of the situation is the better man lost. And Ruiz knows that. But deep down, do I think Ruiz is a better fighter? Right now, no. The Ruiz that fought that guy, Alexander Dimitrenko, and went into that first AJ fight, that Ruiz is a better fighter and that Ruiz will probably beat all of the heavyweights. Even damn Tyson Fury. But that Ruiz doesn't exist anymore. And I'm just being honest with you. But that Ruiz, man, who was about to get evicted from his apartment and all that, the guy who after he won the first Joshua fight, Mama, we don't have to struggle no more. Y'all remember that guy? He's gone. You see his son up there with big ass necklaces and diamonds, and don't get me wrong, love your children. It's all about the kids, but it's a totally different camp over there now. He made it, man. So I don't think he has the hunger. I don't. I think his mind is telling him yes, but his body is telling him no. Like R. Kelly. My mind's telling me no, but my body, this is the opposite. My mind's telling me yes, but my body's saying no. So he would like a reverse R. Kelly, you know what I'm saying? This is a Ruiz Kelly. But anyway, we'll see what happens, man. I just think Ruiz, I put it to you this way, right? Wilder and Ruiz, Wilder should clip him. But imagine if Ruiz fought if this Ruiz fought Joseph Parker right now. This Joseph Parker is still hungry. Put this Ruiz in with Shalil Zhang. He may get Hrgovic out of there. But put this Ruiz in with Zhang, with Hrgovic, with Joe Joyce, with Parker. Put him in with Dillian White. Who you think wins? That's a close fight. But if Dillian White hits him with that boom left hand, that sonic boom left hand, I'm just saying, the Ruiz I know before that first AJ fight would beat all them guys. I put money on it, but it's not the same. But that being said, man, you guys like and subscribe. I just think Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz, I just think those guys are on their way out of boxing, man. I honestly feel that. I do. 3-4 fights, maybe. I don't think it's gonna last too much longer. Ortiz, I hope he fights as long as he possibly can. He's still taking care of his family, his daughter. But, I hope he gets another big fight, big payday, man. Hopefully he can pick up a belt at some point. But he's back to the drawing board again, But he proved that he can still handle himself. But his punch resistance isn't there. But that being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to everybody across the world, especially the veterans, man. I appreciate your support. You guys take care, and I'm in the breeze.